What is going on, Spanko squad, and welcome back to the channel. This year marks the 20th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and to celebrate, we're spending an entire month revisiting the decks of the GX era, all while trying to make them as competitive as possible. Now let's be real, some of these decks are gonna put up a fight, and some might not. But we're here to push them to their limit. Whether it's Heroes, Cyber Dragons, Crystal Beasts, or even the really obscure stuff, we're giving them all a shot. And if you want access to every deck profile I'll be showing this month, plus exclusive access to 4 deck lists that will not be shown here on YouTube, check out the Metafy GX month package. For just $10, you'll have access to this package for life. And that includes any updates and any changes made to these deck lists. It's the best way to keep up to date with all your favorite decks while also supporting the channel. Hit that like button, subscribe if you guys haven't already, and with that, let's get into GX month.
So for today's episode, you guys can see it's a little bit more of a weird one. We are showcasing Cloudian, a deck that is pretty forgotten from the GX era. This deck does a couple fun things, nothing too crazy, but I wanted to show it. At the end of the day, it is a GX era deck, and it is something that I wanted to show you guys. I actually was looking up, fun fact, Cloudian deck profiles on YouTube just to see if any existed. Outside of the speed duel ones, the last one was like 7 or 8 years ago. So you guys want some exclusive stuff, it's right here on the channel. That being said though, let's get right into the deck profile. I'm going to go through the cards. I'm going to explain a little bit how the deck works. Essentially, Cloudian, what it does really well is nothing. But what you want it to do is you want it to revolve around this Atlas guy, right? Or Altis. Now what Altis does is it hand rips your opponent, and that's the whole point of this deck. You're kind of playing a hand rip control style deck and then just poking for damage here and there. You guys can tell with all the trap cards over here that that's kind of what we're doing. Let's go through it though. I'll explain the cards. I know a lot of you guys probably haven't read the Cloudian cards, so I'm going to explain the cards, we'll go through it, and then it'll make a little bit of sense to you guys. So we are starting off with 3 Cloudian Smoke Wall, one of the more important cards in your deck, just because it's a it gets counters on you'll see how, but it gets counters, and then by getting counters, it's also level 1. It's also a normal type, which means you guys can get the Link Spider, you guys can get the Anima, which is really nice here as well. Hey, you can summon it from your deck as well, which is really nice. So Smoke Wall is kind of like a card that you have to play, unfortunately. 1-for-1 gets you to Smoke Wall though, and getting more monsters on the field is good for this strategy. So 1-for-1 into Smoke Wall is pretty nice. Now 3 of the Cloudian Altis. This is the card that your whole strategy is centered around, so it can't be destroyed by battle, which is kind of cool, I guess. That's why it's kind of like a control style deck. But the main part of this card is, if this card is normal summon, you place a fog counter on it, and then for each Cloudian monster on the field. So of course, if you have multiple Cloudian monsters, you get more fog counters, and then you can remove 3 fog counters from anywhere on the field, and you discard a random card from your opponent's hand. So there is a way where essentially, I'll talk about it in a second, but there is like a 1-card combo that lets you rip 2 or 3 right off the bat, and then right after you rip 3, you have cards, these stun cards, that's going to stop your opponent. Even if they're playing with like 2 or 3 cards, you'll be able to stop those 2 or 3 cards, and then you should be able to kind of rip more on your follow-up, and then you should be able to attack and do some poke damage as well, right? So 3 of the Altis, because the hand rip is the most important part of this deck. We're playing 3 of the Turbulence, so Turbulence has the same effect, can't be destroyed by battle, and then if this card is normal summoned, you can place a fog counter on it for each Cloudian monster on the field. So the same thing as your Altis here. However, this one says you can remove a fog counter from this card, special summon a Smoke Wall from your deck or graveyard. So that's really nice, because you can get your Smoke Wall straight from your deck, or you can get it from your graveyard, get more monsters on your side of the field, which is really nice as well. So 3 Turbulence, and then 3 Storm Dragon. It cannot be normal summoned or set, must be for a special summon from your hand by banishing a Cloudian monster from your graveyard. It can't be destroyed by battle. And then it has the effect where once per turn you can target a face-up monster on the field, place a counter on that target. And so that's really nice, because let's say essentially you get your Smoke Ball in the graveyard through whatever means. Let's say you go 1-for-1, Smoke Ball, make Smoke Ball in the Anima, then you can special summon your Storm Dragon, you can normal summon your Atlas, you're getting more fog counters on your side of the field. The more fog counters you have to play with, the more you can hand rip, which is really nice as well, right? So that's why we're playing 3 of the Storm Dragon, it's like an extender for you. And then we're playing 1 Eye of the Typhoon. It can't be destroyed by battle, but you're never really using this to summon it. The whole point of having this card is because you have this card over here, Cloudian Aerosol, and Aerosol says that you can discard a Cloudian monster, target a face-up monster on the field, and place fog counters on that target equal to its level. So that's really good, because you can kind of discard cards like Eye of the Typhoon to get more counters on Atlas and whatnot. So this is really good. It also acts as a Cloudian in the graveyard for your Storm Dragon, which is really nice. So Eye of Typhoon is mainly there for that. We're playing one Acid Cloud. Acid Cloud is it's an okay card. It's more so for just having an extra name, but essentially it has the same thing. When it's normal summon, you place a fog counter on it, and then you can remove 2 fog counters to target a spell or trap card on the field and destroy it. And then Cirrostratus, I don't know if I'm saying that one, but this one essentially remove 2 fog counters from it, target a monster on the field, destroy it. So this is spell, this is monster, kind of does the same exact thing. But the main strategy again is focused around your Altis and getting as many fog counters as possible. Now we're playing 2 Cloudian Aerosol. Now Aerosol is in theory the best card in this deck, and a lot of people say and might say you should play 3 of this. The thing is, it doesn't really do that much for you. I'd rather make room for other cards, and that's why I'm only playing 2. So 2 Aerosol, so you discard a Cloudian monster, target a face-up monster on the field, place fog counters equal to its level. That's kind of what we talked about already. And its second effect says you can banish this card and a Cloudian monster in your graveyard, and you can special summon a Cloudian monster from your deck. So it's kind of like an extender for you while it's in the graveyard, so it's not bad. You can only use 1 effect per turn, so it's not like you can use this and use the secondary effect. That's why I'm only playing it at 2. It's good, but you also have to have a Cloudian monster for it to be relevant, so that's why we're only playing 2. We're playing 2 Fog Control, so Fog Control is kind of cool, because you can tribute a face-up Cloudian monster, then target a face-up monster on the field, place 3 counters on that target. Why this is kind of cool is because if you have stuff like your Altis and your Storm Dragon set up, essentially what you can do is you can get a lot of fog counters built up, and then you can use fog control. Let's say you tribute your Storm Dragon, put those fog counters on your Altis, and then you can use your Altis effect again. So fog control is good in that sense. And then 2 Summon Cloud, it says once per turn during your main phase, special summon a level 4 or lower Cloudian monster from your hand and or graveyard. So this is really nice because it essentially gets more monsters on your side of the field. More monsters on your side of the field means you can actually get more counters. Altis has the effect where you place a fog counter on it for each Cloudian monster on the field. So if you're just using Summoning Cloud, summoning one of your Smoke Balls from your hand or a Turbulence from your hand, doesn't matter, then you normal summon your Altis, it's going to give you fog counters. On top of that, it gives you plays for your extra deck as well, so that's why I like playing 2 Summoning Cloud. And then we are playing 3 Barrier Statue of the Torrent. Yep, it's a stall deck, guys. It is a control deck. Barrier Statue is really, really good in today's format. It's a water, which is good. It's going to stop a lot of decks. And then all of your monsters here, if you guys didn't notice, are all water as well, so it doesn't affect you whatsoever. So Barrier Statue is a really, really good card, especially if you're starting off with something like a Summon Cloud, and then you can go your Altis or you can go your Turbulence, and then you can normal summon your Barrier Statue, and you're kind of setting it up that way. This is also going to help you poke. It's 1,000 attack, which isn't crazy, of course, but at the end of the day, the whole point of this deck is to give your opponent limited resources to play with. So if you can just stun them out and then kind of keep poking them, that's how you can win a lot of games. 1 Prosperity, of course, because we want to get 2 Hour Consistency cards as much as possible. Again, you're not doing that much damage ever in this deck anyway, so Prosperity's a secondary effect, doesn't really matter so much. 1 Called by the Grave, which is nice because it just protects your cards ultimately. 1 Skill Drain. Listen, I get it. It negates your own activated effects, but this is just way more important to stop your opponent. Like, I get it. It's cool, I guess, but guys, these effects are not that great to begin with. You want to stun your opponent. So Skill Drain goes in match, so each player can only control 1 attribute of monster. All of our monsters are water, except for your Eye of the Typhoon, but that doesn't matter because you're never really summoning this one anyway. So Goes in Match is really good in today's format. Anti-Spell, you guys can see we're not playing that many spell cards where it's going to really affect us. It's going to affect our opponents a lot more. You have 1 Rivalry of the Warlords, and again, you can only control 1 type of monster, but guess what? They're all Aqua. I mean, this is a fairy, which I guess, sure. The rest of them are pretty much fairies, except for your Eye of the Typhoon, which is an Aqua, and this guy is an Aqua. So a lot of the Cloudian monsters, this is not going to affect you too much. 3 Crackdown. Crackdown is a card that people don't play much anymore, but it just gets monsters off your opponent's side of the field, and then it puts it on yours. Now, you can't attack with those monsters, but it clears the way for your Cloudian monsters to do more and more poke damage. And then on top of that, you can use those monsters to link climb as well, which is nice. 3 Solemn Strike. This card is good going first and going second, so 3 Solemn Strike, and then 3 Imperm, which is the only real hand trap you're playing. Again, this deck is a very stun-focused deck. You want to go first. You want to stun your opponent out. So that's it for the main deck. It's a 40-card main deck. I know it's Cloudian, it looks weird, it looks funny, but this is honestly, I think, the best way to play Cloudian right now. Getting, stunning your opponent out and then kind of playing that slow game and that grind game is very, very important. Moving on to the extra deck here, you do go into your extra deck here and there. It's not super, super often that you do, but when you do, it is pretty good. Link Spider, of course, because you have your Smoke Ball. This is actually really good when you open multiple Smoke Balls. You go Smoke Ball into Link Spider, use its effect to special summon level 4 lower normal monster. You can summon another Smoke Ball, and then you can make a Link 2 if you wanted that way. Anima is really good for your level 1 monsters. You got Haggard Lizardos. This is actually, funny enough, a water, so it plays actually around your Gozen match, which is really nice, and it just clears your field as well. Now, funny enough, you can banish a monster from your face-up field or graveyard with 2,000 less attack, and then essentially you get to draw a card if it's a reptile, right? But that's not the point. The point is about this is you can actually make this with cards like that you crack down, and then you can banish extra cards essentially, which is nice, right? You can banish itself if you want to get a draw as well, but it's just a generic link 2 that you can use the Crackdown monsters for. Iria, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this card is really good as well. Just an extender. Marin says Coral Anemone. Just again, this is all generic water support here. SP and IP are not so much generic water, but SP and IP are really good for those Crackdown targets. Again, if you have extra monsters on your side of the field, you make them into an IP, and then on your opponent's turn, you make it into an SP, which is another form of disruption, right? So you're trying as best as possible to play the control game with this deck, and Crackdown does help you because it gives you access to these kind of cards. Then of course we're playing 1 Stealth Kragan and 1 Kragan Spawn. This is really good because it's 2 level 4 water monsters, which all of your Cloudian, essentially your main ones, are level 4 water monsters. And these are all good because you can make this, and if you set this up with your Gozen match or your rivalry, then you're pretty much putting that lock on the board, which is really good as well, right? So Stealth Kragan into Kragan Spawn. We're playing 1 Dweller, of course. Dweller is really good against those graveyard heavy decks. It also has the effect where all your monsters gain 500 attack as long as it has a water monster as a material. It's always going to have a water monster as a material. So this is good because it just helps you push for a game a little bit faster. And then 2 Mohamed Shark and 2 Totally Awesome. Again, very unlikely this comes up, but if it does, it can become really good because, again, it's very easy to make Mohamed Shark, very easy to make Totally Awesome, put up a negate. So that's it for the deck, guys. I know this little smoke ball over here is a guy that, it's a deck that people don't talk about, honestly, very often. But it's a deck that I had to show you guys because at the end of the day, it's a GX deck. It's a deck that doesn't get a lot of love. I'm hoping that one day this deck gets a little bit more support because I think it could be fun. It has some really cool, like, I mean, gimmicky stuff. Altis, I mean, this could be broken in theory. The fact that you can hand rip, if they give this deck 1 or 2 cards that make it a lot more consistent, this could be a scary deck. But for now, guys, this is going to be, again, one of those rogue level, not even rogue, to be honest with you. This is kind of like super casual, but it can be fun in some ways, you know? I'm trying my best to defend it here, guys. But, yeah, that's it. Another day, another deck profile for GX month in the books. Thank you guys all for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. I do want to say that I'm trying my best to make these decks all as competitive as possible. And again, we're not there yet with this one, but I know we can get there. Make sure to check out the playlist for all of the GX month videos. If you guys haven't already, by the way, check out the Metafy. All of the deck lists are on that Metafy, as well as 4 exclusive deck lists. So if you guys want to check that out, it's only $10 and you guys can get access to all my deck lists. And then as they get updated as well, you guys are going to get those updates on that Metafy for free. So not to plug, but if you guys go check out that Metafy, it could be good as well. So, you know, support your boy, get access to all the deck lists, not just like this, but like you can download them, you can play with them, all of that good stuff. So make sure to check that out. Thank you guys all for watching, and with that, Spanko, signing out. Peace.